I'm Nye McGee with EUR Web. Thank you for giving me your time to speak about your fabulous career and projects that you have going on. But most importantly, we have gathered here today, as Prince used to say, to speak about Found. Season 2 is coming up October
Yes,
3rd.
yes, yes. Season 2, October 3rd. People are in for a treat. We have 22 amazing episodes coming your way, and I'm humbled, grateful, and thankful to be here.
22 episodes. Wow. So is that going to be season 2? Sounds like it's going to be divided. It's going to be split. Are we going to
You
have
know what?
part of
I'm
it
not
and then a break and then come back and pick up the rest of the season?
I'm not 100% sure, but more than likely, I think that's probably why they gave us so many, just so they could, really give it to you in a good blocks, and then give you a little break in between, have you hungry for more, bring you back, and so forth. Yes.
Very good. Well, something for the fans to look forward to. October 3rd, Found season 2 kicks off. And for my readers who will be watching this interview who are not, maybe they haven't seen this episode season yet, season 1, they haven't tuned into the show and they will for the first time after they watch this. You play a very interesting character. Your character suffers from agoraphobia. He
Yeah.
can't leave
Yeah.
the house. This is very
Yeah.
interesting. He helps solve crimes or cases, I should say, from the comforts of his home. So let's kick things off by asking you, first, let me ask you, what initially drew you to this character, and how did you prepare to play, how did you prepare to portray a cyber sleuth with agoraphobia?
So what initially drew me to Zeke and Found was just the amazing writing. The pilot was amazing, script, the character, everything about it said, "Oh, this could be something, long term." And long term for an actor is twofold, right? Obviously, you want to be working for a good amount of time, but more than that, you get to develop a character over a good, strong amount of episodes. When you're doing a film, it's a beginning, middle, and an end. When you're working on a series, you get to really dig deep and do the work that you get to do as an actor over a long period. I call it the slow burn. I love doing the slow burn work because nothing is rushed. You get to really dig into that past, get to their future, and so forth. So playing Zeke and his agoraphobia was just another added layer to that, because it's obviously a challenge. Even though I'm a homebody, I'm not affected the same way Zeke is affected with his agoraphobia. And even studying agoraphobia, I learned that there's so many different levels and layers to it. It's not always, oh, he can't leave, you can't leave your house. Sometimes I can't drive down that street, or I can't leave during this time. No, this time I sit here. I don't leave the house until right about, okay, now I can leave. That's also a form of agoraphobia, just because your brain and your mental tells you this isn't safe. You can't make a move until it is safe, So Zeke has made a safe place and has a safe family with the rest of the team at Mosely and Associates, and we're doing the good work, as they say. We're not the law enforcement. We are regular people who have been affected by the traumas of either losing someone to abduction, or we ourselves being abducted. And with that trauma, we've turned it into something different where even though we're still healing, we are going to do the work to hopefully not. To hopefully help you get out of your situation sooner, faster, and give you the eyes and ears and the voice that you don't have.
Right on. So, as you just said, Zeke obviously is an expert in technology and he plays a crucial role in helping Gabi Mosely's team locate missing persons. How do you think his unique skill set and personal challenges shape his contributions to the team?
So Zeke's skill set absolutely helps and shapes the team, because we all bring something different. We all bring something specifically different, and like I said earlier, our specific trauma gives us, for lack of a better word, a superpower. Because Zeke can't leave right now because of his agoraphobia, because he hasn't been outside for so long. He has created a way so that he does have eyes, ears, and hands and feel outside of his space. And it's something that we, people that go out every day, we take for granted. You know, we don't look at things the same way as Zeke does. Zeke not being able to go outside means that when he's using a drone or technology, he is maximizing the use. Like if you gave Zeke your phone, he'd be like, "Oh, that's all you do with this thing? Let me show you what you can really do." And that's what Zeke does. You know, he maximizes his uh, his his superpower. And while some people would call it a trauma, I'm going to call it a superpower. It's part of him. He's maximized this version of himself to do the good work along with the rest of the team.
Now, how do you approach capturing both the vulnerability and strength of someone dealing with this challenge?
I think capturing both the vulnerability and the strength of a character like Zeke is very much a reflection of how you see yourself. I think every actor has something that's innately them. And I believe that's part of the reason why I got the role of Zeke. I give off a strength for certain. But if you sat down with me long enough, we would get into the heart to heart of life and family and this and that. And you'll see that I'm very much still in touch with the younger version of myself. Uh, I'm, uh, I'm I'm an easygoing, relaxing person for the most part, right? But I care and I have passion about things that matter, and I have empathy for people. That's me. And I think maybe they caught a glimpse of that, or maybe they've seen that in some of my previous work, and they thought that yes, that along with him being a good actor, I think he might bring something special to Zeke, and I'm glad for the opportunity.
Right on. So, okay, so season two's on the horizon. And this is the part of the conversation where I ask you to tease us. What can we expect? Can you tease any developments or surprises coming up for Zeke and the team as they continue their mission to find the forgotten?
I think season two is going to present the audience with something that they haven't seen before. Season one, you saw how close knit we were as a family. You saw us get closer. Don, Zeke and Lacey, like the list goes on. Season two, we're splintered. We're broken in different pieces. The lie and the that Gabby held on to, you know, the secret that is out now, you know, Sir is out and you held him for this amount of time. You used him for these cases. That's broken us apart in the best way possible. You know, you can't have growth without growing pains. And so we're going to be going through some growing pains, and hopefully through this we can still hold ourselves together. But more importantly, what's really I think going to bait people in, how does Sir being out affect everybody? For the longest time, the boogeyman was just in your dreams. It happened way back when, and now that nightmare is real. It's real for everybody. You know, even for us, for those of us that were not and haven't been kidnapped or hurt by Sir per se directly. Are we in danger now? There's so much at stake now. Absolutely.
With the secret out now, how would you describe Zeke and Gabby's dynamic in season two?
With the secret out now, Zeke and Gabby's relationship and the dynamic of what they share is there's a lot of trust gone. There's a lot of trust gone, and it's going to take some work to get back to a place of safety and transparency and me seeing you for who you are. It's almost like meeting a brand new person that you've been living with for 5 years, you know, and then one day they walk in and you're like, who are you? I don't know who you are. I don't believe who you are. And I don't know if even the next set of words that come out your mouth, if I can wholeheartedly take that to heart. So it's gonna be a challenge for them to see what their relationship looks like in season two.
You know, I remember when this series was first announced, and before I had watched a single episode, you know, I was reading the series description. And I said, "Well, this is wild. She is solving crimes and got the man locked up in the doggone basement. Like, what the hell is going on?" And not
I
just any
remember
guy.
I
It's
remember.
Zach.
Oh, you know exactly. And Mark Paul. I mean, literally, you talk about vulnerability, strength, rage, and all of these things, and intellect. He brings all of those pieces together so well, so much so that there are times where you're watching the show, even me being on the show, I'm watching the show and I sit back and I go, he'll say something. I go, hmm. Because logically he can make 1 + 1 = 2 for you. And that's very scary. It's very dangerous, but it also is the reflection of his acting ability. He's doing a beautiful work. Both he and Shanola play off of one another really well. We're just blessed to see them do what they do.
Right on. And just a quick sidebar for my readers watching later. Mark Paul, famously known as Zach from Saved by the Bell. So if anybody's watching, they're like, she said Zach. Who the heck is Zach? Okay, so
Zach
let's just
Morris. You got to say the whole name, Zach
Zach
Morris.
Morris. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yes.
How much did you have to dive into the world of cyber sleuthing in order to fully occupy his headspace? And have you learned anything surprising in this process?
Diving into Zeke's world of cyber sleuthing and so forth for me wasn't too hard. In this day and age, you're visible. Everyone can see you. If you have a thing, if you have one of these, if you have a computer, if you have a car, oh my goodness, technology has gotten so deep into the structure that is human. It's almost impossible to even believe that there's a place that you can go necessarily without maybe a VPN or something like that and not be seen, right? With that being said, the surprising thing is how little people know about what technology can do, how deep it really is, how it can be weaponized. It can be a superpower. It can be used for good. It can be used for bad. I'm learning so much. And each time, like they write an episode and I'm seeing, well, and I'll ask, well, how did Zeke do that? And they'll say, well, and they'll take me down this rabbit hole. And I go, wait a minute, you can really do this? And they said, in theory, yes, you can. And there are people who actually can and do, So it's a brave new world. Let's leave it at that.
Okay, so on that note, you know what? I'll tell you something really quickly. Some years ago, I think it was Mark Zuckerberg. I think I was watching an interview. I believe it was Mark. If it wasn't, no. It was an actress who was saying that she was at some tech guy's house and noticed that he had his computers and his devices, the camera. He had tape over
Oh
the
yeah,
camera on all his devices. And
yeah.
when she saw that, she started taping the cameras on all her devices. So now that you've kind of been deep diving in this world, do you take any precautions in your own personal life when you're using technology to make sure
Listen,
no one is
I
like
was
spying on you secretly?
I was taking precautions before this. My fiance Toya, she is like, who's they? Can you close that window so they don't see, baby? Who is they? I still don't know who the they is, but because of her, we've been protecting ourselves from they and them for the longest time. So yes, I've taken all of the precautions, whether it is putting something over your camera, on your phone or your iPad and so forth. What else do we do? Oh my goodness. So set up the Ring camera if you're leaving. Put it at the angle that you can see. Uh, turn the volume down so you can hear, but they can't hear you. Like all of those things, like it's the world that we live in. And it's funny. I tell people I feel like we are actually living in a combination of the Flintstones and the Jetsons. A little bit of both worlds, right? You've got all of this great idea of what the future could look like, and then no, here it is actually happening. I remember, people talking to each other on phones. That was a dream, a concept, an idea that seemed so far-fetched. It's normal now. Video calls. This is, I'm George Jetson and you're Mr. Spacely. I can easily tell you that the most challenging part of our show is realizing that in real life, things like this are really happening. That's the most challenging part. We get to shoot an episode, we get to solve a case or not, and we get to go home and digest it to the next episode. And in real life, it's these things are really happening. Abductions are at an all-time high. I mean, and then the eyes that are not that the eyes on some of these cases are not there. The voices are not there. The recognition, the media outrage is not there. So that's easily the most challenging part. Now, the most rewarding part is knowing that we are part of the, I'm not going to call it the answer, but we are part of the equation that is opening people's eyes to what's really happening, making you think a little bit further before you just drop your child off thinking everything's okay. If you see something happen on the side of the road, do a double take. Do a double take. Stop if you have to. Don't assume that the next person will take care of it, or that, oh, I'm sure the police will stop and they'll figure it out. You just never, ever, ever know. I think I saw an article where a young lady felt uncomfortable in the back of a ride share service, and I think she felt like something was sprayed. She smelled something, and she jumped out the car. She jumped out the car. I mean, and kudos to her that she had the bravery to do that. I don't know exactly how the rest of the story rolled itself out, but you got to protect yourself. You got to be very, very, use technology to your best of your ability. Like even now with my loved ones, you're going somewhere, share the information with me. Where, who, when, what time. Put me on speaker so they know that I know where you're going. Like those are the things that you have to do. So that's the most challenging part of being in the show, but also the most gifting part is that we get to be a part of the solution as much as we can.
As we've been talking, I thought about this, and I wonder how often you've thought about this as you've been kind of unpacking this role. So this series explores a team who are trying to find the missing folks who've been abducted, and in some ways, your character is kind of a missing person too, in the sense that his agoraphobia prevents him from fully exploring the world. So
Yeah,
he doesn't get an opportunity to get out there and meet new people,
yeah,
kind of expand his social circle.
yeah,
So in some ways, he's kind of a missing person too,
very much
missing
so.
the activities of the world
Yeah,
and missing out on the activities of the world. Kind
you're
of interesting
literally
to explore that.
you're literally tapping into a piece of Zeke that I have to and I get to play with 24/7 when I'm in character. There are very quiet moments that Zeke always has to have when we are cheering, like welcome home, and everyone's together in the group and there's dancing and there's music and I'm there by myself. When we are going to solve a case and Zeke might have given some information and they're out the door, the press conferences, all of these things, there are quiet moments that Zeke has to have where he's constantly reminded that there's a piece of you that doesn't always fit or work the same or work the correct way, the way society says it's supposed to work, and me being the actor, it's something that I definitely tap into because it's definitely an emptiness that I think Zeke will, even when eventually when Zeke gets out of the house, I think that piece of him will always be there. I think he'll always feel a little bit different, but also it's in healing, you hope that Zeke will realize and learn, love all of you, love all of you, even the parts of you that doesn't necessarily fit what society says is a whole person. You are enough. So yeah.
Outside of this very fabulous series, any other projects you're working on you want to tell fans about, or that fans should keep a lookout for?
I have a beautiful short that will be making its rounds on the film festival circuit called Newlyweds Blood of the Altar, produced by Lucian and Bird, also known as 89 Writers. I worked with those gentlemen on David Makes Man, produced by myself and my fiance, starring myself and my fiance. And it's a really cool, interesting twist on what we've come to know in the world of zombies, but it bleeds into what it is to be married, what it is to be, committed, what it is to truly fight for love and, with your person, and once you bring zombies and things like that into that mix, you could imagine that we're challenged in a very, very special, interesting, crazy, cool, fun, thrilling way. It's something that I'm very, very proud of. It's a proof of concept idea right now, and we're hoping that this film festival circuit run leads us to something much, much bigger.